how many times have you glanced through a job advertisement and seen minimum 5 years experience required for an entry-level position? Work experience is often a major focus of the recruiting practice, and it's a key requirement for many occupational positions. Many hiring managers believe experienced workers will perform better and will require less training and time to get up to speed. The importance of work experience is perceived to be so great that even entry-level jobs and internships call for it. This can cause a lot of frustration amongst talented individuals, new graduates, and people who are otherwise readily qualified for positions. To get a job, you need experience. But to get experience, you need a job. It's a vicious circle, and few hiring managers seem to be the ones that want to take the risk to break that cycle. The focus on experience has historically been so strong that its importance is now being called into question for early career roles. Should we also be questioning its relevance for established workers as well? Also, does experience even play a role in job performance or training performance? Chad Van Inniking, John Arnold, Rachel Redier, and Philip Roth recently published a meta-analysis based on 75 studies. They looked at the extent to which work experience predicts job and training performance. They focused their study on the work experience acquired before starting a new job. They quantified work experience as the number of years overall in a similar job and the number of years in a job with similar tasks. They also considered if the experience was in a similar job, a similar organization, or in the same industry. The researchers looked at performance, training performance overall, and at task performance. In other words, successfully completing specific tasks associated with your role. They also explored whether the complexity of the role has an influence on the importance of work experience. Together, these researchers found little evidence that work experience predicts job performance. This was even true when experience and job performance were considered in multiple ways. Now, this might be true for a number of reasons. Jobs with the same job titles can be different in their requirements. Performance can suffer for many reasons. Lacking trust in your fellow team members, a bad boss, and a confusing onboarding process are all third variables that might counteract someone's previous experience and its relationship with performance. So we now know that from this massive data set of 75 studies combined and analyzed together, that work experience alone is a poor predictor of performance at work. So what about training? It's completely logical to believe that work experience is useful when it comes to the level of training required. After all, a key reason why companies look for experienced workers is to try and save money and time. For hiring managers, an experienced candidate might perform better in on-the-job training. However, just because something sounds logical doesn't mean it's actually true and borne out by the evidence. The evidence actually leads us to believe otherwise. It turns out, overall, that previous work experience isn't strongly related to how people perform in their new company training. Experience might require a candidate to unlearn some of their previous job's procedures while they adopt new ones that associate more readily to their current role. This may be one of many reasons why people with limited experience might actually learn things more quickly and adopt things more readily with a fresher perspective. So when we look at the myth that people might need 8 to 10 years of experience on a job advert, stemming from the logical conclusion that more experience means better performance or quicker training, we actually find it doesn't really work out that way. Experience is a poor predictor of performance and training speed. It's not as good as what you might think, and that may detract from it significantly in including it as a standard occupational requirement for many roles. So let's go through some takeaways. Now that we've discussed some of the extreme limitations of using experience as a predictor of performance, let's find out what is. First, you might start out by conducting a job analysis to identify the key predictors of performance for any specific role. It's a key step in the process that often goes ignored. You should be basing your hiring decisions on data when recruiting. You can incorporate other methods that are effective in measuring someone's potential, such as a personality assessment, situational judgment test, or an aptitude test. You should only seek experience when it might make a significant improvement in your hiring process. So consider job complexity, for example. There might be benefits to not having experience. You might be able to bring in new ideas to the role, and you might be avoiding the trap of, this is how we've always done things. You might also be situating your company for better ethical judgment, avoiding such things as ageism and classism. Being off work for a while traveling or taking care of children, or being sick or homeless shouldn't necessarily be an indicator of how suitable a candidate is for the role. If you're able to bring talented individuals on that have had gaps in their employment, it might actually be doing your community a service and enhancing your organizational capacities. When conducting interviews, make sure the questions are structured and relevant to the job. Remember though, that someone without relevant experience but with the right skills should be able to answer any of these questions in a way that's relevant to the requirements of the job. And you should review your training and onboarding materials to make sure that both inexperienced and experienced hires are set up for success. There are so many tools that you can use to enhance your recruitment process beyond the standard resume and the typical interview. We can do better. Let us show you how. Thanks for watching the first episode of Science for Work's animated educational shorts. If you're not already familiar with us, Science for Work is an independent, nonprofit foundation of evidence-based practitioners, many of whom are work and organizational psychologists who want to make work and life better. Our mission is to provide people with trustworthy and useful insights from the sciences of people, business, management, and social systems. We read peer-reviewed research, evaluate its quality, and translate it for the public to apply in their daily lives, all at zero cost. We have a well-established LinkedIn presence, and we have a website rich with insights about people, work, and life. I've went ahead and posted links down below to our website, our LinkedIn group, and to the original articles that inspired this piece. Similarly, if you're looking for some clarity with regards to the technical terms that were used and included in this piece, I've also went ahead for your convenience and included them in the video description down below. There's a lot to discuss where it comes to predicting things like performance and training speed, and a lot of factors that you'd have to consider to get comprehensive understanding of absolutely everything that goes into it. For example, job complexity might play a significant role, but nevertheless, we only had time to include so much in our video. As usual, some things didn't quite make the cut, but if you'd like to learn more on this subject, please feel free to read the original research paper or our original research translation article written by Science for Work's own Jonathan Dult. It explains that there's a lot to consider on this particular subject and provides some great practical advice if you happen to be a hiring manager or a business leader. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and consider donating to us via PayPal or Patreon. We're a not-for-profit, and your donation will go a long way towards helping us with our mission of public education and science communication. And stay tuned, because we're in the process of making more content, ranging from more animated shorts to live action video, interviews, and much, much more.